Copenhagen, the capital of Denmark, is a city steeped in history, culture, and modernity, all intertwined with Scandinavian charm. Its picturesque streets, canals, and historic buildings have inspired authors across genres who have used the city as a backdrop for stories of crime, love, political intrigue, and personal journeys. In this article, we delve into 10 novels set in Copenhagen, each providing unique insights into the city's character. The first book in the Department Q series, The Keeper of Lost Causes, by Jussi Adler-Olsen, published 2007 in Denmark and 2011 in English translation, introduces us to Carl Mørk, a Copenhagen police detective relegated to a basement office where he is assigned cold cases. Set against the backdrop of the city's crime-ridden areas, as well as its quieter, scenic quarters, the novel intricately weaves a tale of suspense and mystery. As Carl unravels the case of a missing politician, readers are treated to a vivid portrayal of Copenhagen's darker, more complex side. Jussi Adler-Olsen's gripping narrative offers a thrilling look into the underbelly of the city. Peter Hoeg's novel, Miss Smilla's Feeling for Snow, published in 1992, is a literary thriller set in Copenhagen, blending mystery with scientific inquiry. The story follows Smilla Jaspersen, a Greenlandic woman living in Copenhagen, who becomes obsessed with the suspicious death of a young boy from her apartment complex. Smilla's investigation takes her deep into the city's bureaucratic and scientific institutions, revealing the hidden tensions between Copenhagen's Danish and Greenlandic communities. Hoeg's writing is atmospheric, and his depiction of Copenhagen in winter is both haunting and beautiful. We, the Drowned, a novel by Carsten Jensen, published in 2006, is an epic novel about generations of men who go to sea and the women and children they leave behind. This sweeping historical novel spans over a century and explores Denmark's maritime history, beginning in the town of Marstal, but also delving into Copenhagen's port as a key setting. While the majority of the novel focuses on sailors and life at sea, Copenhagen's importance as Denmark's capital and its connection to the global world is highlighted throughout. Carsten Jensen's storytelling is rich and immersive, and his descriptions of 19th and early 20th century Copenhagen provide a sense of the city's significance as a hub of Danish life and trade. Another novel by Peter Hoeg, The Quiet Girl, published in 2006, is a complex and philosophical thriller that takes readers through various parts of Copenhagen. The protagonist, Kasper Krone, is a circus clown with an acute sense of hearing who becomes entangled in a mystery involving a missing girl. Hoeg's depiction of Copenhagen in this novel is surreal, mixing the mundane with the extraordinary. The city becomes a stage for metaphysical exploration, as Kasper navigates its streets in search of answers. The novel's portrayal of Copenhagen is both grounded in reality and dreamlike, reflecting its themes of perception and existence. Copenhagen Noir, an anthology of noir stories, is part of the Akashic Noir series and features short stories by various Danish authors, all set in different districts of Copenhagen. The collection delves into the city's gritty, crime-filled corners, exploring themes of corruption, deceit, and moral ambiguity. Each story highlights a different aspect of Copenhagen, from the upscale neighborhoods to the more downtrodden areas. Copenhagen Noir offers readers a diverse view of the city through the lens of its most shadowy and sinister elements. The novel, A Fairy Tale by Jonas T. Bengtsson, published in 2014, is set in the 1980s and 1990s and follows the relationship between a young boy and his eccentric, troubled father as they move through Copenhagen's underbelly. The novel explores themes of isolation, poverty, and the impact of parental influence, with Copenhagen's bleak urban landscape serving as a reflection of the characters' struggles. Bengtsson's portrayal of Copenhagen is far from romanticized, focusing on the harsher realities of life in the city. His storytelling is stark and poignant, offering a raw depiction of the human condition in an urban setting. The fourth book in the Department Q series, The Purity of Vengeance, by Jussi Adler-Olsen, published in Denmark in 2010 and an English translation in 2013, is another thrilling crime novel set in Copenhagen. Detective Karl Mork and his team are tasked with solving a case involving historical disappearances tied to a notorious institution. As the investigation progresses, the novel explores different parts of Copenhagen, from its historic sites to its more modern developments. Adler Olsen's portrayal of the city adds depth to the complex mystery, with Copenhagen's atmosphere reflecting the tension and intrigue of the narrative. Though Karen Blixen, who wrote under the pen name Isak Dinesen, is primarily known for her African memoir, her novella Babette's Feast, first published in 1958 in the short story collection Anecdotes of Destiny, is a Danish classic set in a remote village but with ties to Copenhagen. The story of Babette, a French refugee who becomes a housekeeper in Denmark, touches on themes of grace, sacrifice, and art. Babette once lived in Paris and eventually returns to Copenhagen, which, though briefly mentioned, serves as a connection to her former life and the broader world. The novella's themes of transformation and the subtle portrayal of Denmark's capital give it a timeless appeal. The Exception, a psychological thriller by Christian Jungersen, first published in 2004 in Denmark and in English translation in 2006, revolves around a group of women working at a genocide documentation center in Copenhagen. As mysterious threats begin to surface, the novel delves into issues of trust, guilt, and the darker sides of human nature. Jungersen's depiction of Copenhagen is stark and realistic, with the city serving as a backdrop to the unfolding psychological tension. The novel paints Copenhagen as a modern metropolis where the past and present collide, and the psychological unraveling of the characters adds layers to the portrayal of urban life. The Copenhagen Trilogy is a series of memoirs by Danish author Tove Ditlevsen. The books were first released in Denmark between 1967 and 1971 under the titles Childhood, Youth, and Dependency. The complete trilogy appeared in English translation in 2019. The trilogy chronicles Tove Ditlevsen's life in Copenhagen from her early years to adulthood. The books provide an intimate look at Ditlevsen's struggles with mental illness, addiction, and the difficulties of being a female writer in mid-20th century Denmark. The trilogy's portrayal of Copenhagen is deeply personal, capturing the city's changing landscape over several decades. Ditlevsen's narrative voice is raw and powerful, offering readers an unfiltered view of life in the Danish capital. Copenhagen's unique blend of history, modernity, and culture has made it a compelling setting for a wide range of novels. Whether exploring crime, psychological tension, personal transformation, or the city's darker undercurrents, these 10 novels provide readers with varied perspectives on life in Denmark's capital. Through these stories, Copenhagen emerges not just as a backdrop, but as a central character in its own right, adding depth and richness to the narratives.